Welcome back, folks. It's been an incredible year of rugby so far. Starting, of course, with the season earlier in 2025. We've worked our way through the Western Province Rugby League. We managed to get through to the sevens. We managed to get to the awards. And, of course, we now get to the point where it's administration and off-season. Before we talk about off-season, we're going to wrap up this topic around administration. Alistair, it's this time of year that you want to have, you want to get your ducks in a row for 2026 because you cannot come to work in January and say, right, now we need to choose the coach, or now we need to see who's going to do the kit.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Yeah. So if clubs has changed coaches, they've done it already. You know, most clubs has locked in the friendlies already for next year, so they can prepare. There's budget that needs to be prepared. Logistics needs to be thought about, and then also starting dates.
So give me a negative. Give me the other side. You're mentioning all the positives of what a club does is a good club, is planned, they're prepared already, and but give us a consequence. Put it that way. That if as you mentioned, budget. That if you have not decided your budget, what happens then? Let's say you start budgeting in February.
So for example, if you don't know what your budget is looking like in January, how are you going to plan your friendlies?
Right.
Because you'll need money for logistics.
Yes.
You'll need money to hire buses. You know, if you're playing away. If you haven't planned your friendlies now already, you might not get friendlies coming February, March.
So, all right, so Renz, let me bring you into this picture. Once you've planned your budget, so then you obviously now know what your number is that you need to go look for sponsorship. And you need to get your sponsors already now. You can't wait until February to try and get sponsorship.
I think it's even too late to get sponsors now.
Yeah.
Because now it's end of the season, end of the year already. You should have planned that, September, October, when the 15th ended, you get into that space already of finding sponsors, getting it ready for 2026, because your budget should have been October already. So, you might be in a tight spot when you get to January, February, it's like, where are we going now?
So here's the interesting thing I think that I wanted to ask you, Alistair, is we're just having this conversation. We're going to start looking at it now around the off-season training. But when you speak to sponsors want to know that you're busy. Yeah. Sponsors want to know that you're active. Yeah. So if you have decided that you're closing your doors after the league season and you're now not doing sevens rugby and you're not running the steps and you're not going to the beach, the sponsors are wondering, are you even active? Do you busy? Surely it's a good idea to stay active right through the year then.
Yeah, so your sponsors, you hit the nail on the head. Your sponsors want to see that you're active, that their money is going to use. So for example, some clubs are even doing charity work now in the off-season, alongside the off-season training. You know, but it also gives them content for example, for their social media platforms, which then they can use for their sponsorships. You know, all the sponsors, they can promote sponsors on there.
What about clubs that just simply want to be able to contribute to the community? I mean, a business, local business, want to give money, want to give support to the community. They want to look after the kids that are looking for activity, the kids there, to keep them off the streets. Yeah. And if you're not busy, the sponsors don't know where to go.
Yeah, they don't know where to put their money. So you coming up with community development programs.
Even if you're not playing rugby.
Yeah, even if it's not rugby. Yeah. But it's community development activities or programs that's linked to your rugby club.
Exactly.
You know, you can get sponsors in for that.
So you need to stay busy, right?
Yeah, you always have to stay busy. It's like Ali said, community-based projects. Like have a little, even if it's a soccer tournament you're having, but it's connected to the club. Doesn't have to be rugby.
You can even have boot camps for your supporters in the off season.
Is this also something that is important from call it a municipality point of view, the facilities point of view, that the FMCs, they want to see that the club stays busy?
But that's why your administration of your club is important, and that they are proactive, because these people need to be informed that facilities. They need to be notified to see if facilities are available for projects to be run, because some facilities you have your winter and your summer sports, so cricket and rugby clash with some facilities.
All right, folks, well, as you know, it's a hands-on activity for Western Province Rugby right through the year, and we've just explained to you why it is even more important to stay busy. So if you are watching the show right now, you can know that we don't just talk about rugby during the season. We talk about rugby for the entire year. And now maybe you understand why we talk about rugby for the entire year. Because Club Rugby is busy for the entire year. And what's more is Club Rugby needs to stay busy for the entire year. So often people ask us, why? What do you talk about on a rugby show when it's not in the middle of the season? Well, you can understand now what we talk about. We talk about communities, we talk about people staying active, and we talk about clubs that are making arrangements and planning off-season and pre-season, administration behind the scenes. Time to celebrate, time to come together, still keeps going. It's all about what the value is that Western Province Club Rugby brings to society. One of the clubs that has been busy all year and has been stayed so active and been constantly giving us information has been Pniel Villagers. Here's a little behind-the-scenes video from Pniel Villagers. All right, folks, there we go. I must say big thanks to Lisa from Pniel Villagers, who has been so amazing during the course of the year, sending the footages and the clips, and we'll see what else comes out. But yeah, Pniel Villagers, as you can see, they're in action. And of course, that's gym stuff. It's old school.
It's old school.
We used to say old school was one thing, but now we're saying a gym is old school.
Some is old school, but it's off-season, so now it's about building that strength now, building the body. Before you get into that conditioning and speed and all that. So yeah, well done to Pniel Villagers. Also mentioning that they did well in the season though. I think the under-20s won the league or something. Well done to them.
That's right, yeah. Of course, we've got, in fact, in the awards, folks, Pniel Villagers under-20A side, you're 100% right, Rens. In Super League C, the under-20A side taking the prize there. But Alistair, let's bring you into it. The off-season creative stuff is definitely what we're seeing now. There was a time that people used to say, we don't have money for the gym, we can't get into the gym. But today people are saying, we want to be out of the gym. Yeah. We want to be running in the mountain. It's a world of experience in Cape Town now.
Yeah, fortunate for us, we live in the Western Cape.
Yeah.
There's loads of mountains and there's also a coastline that we can use. And inland, sorry. So, yeah, as you said, teams are getting creative. Yes, you have your base, like your gym work, which is important, your strength work, etc. But if you don't have that, you can use the environment around you. You can go to Muizenberg, you can do Jacob's Ladder, hill rise, you can do beach work on the beach. Same Clifton side, you can do Biscop, and a lot of clubs are doing that. But also, they are training outside of your typical rugby training. Yeah. So they're training across sporting codes, or across methodologies, which is also helping them within the rugby sphere.
And in fact, we're going to take a look at that because, before we go to this, we're going to show you some of the footage from Rangers in a minute or so. But yes, Goodwood, let's take a look. There we go. That was Goodwood. Renzo, you sent us that. We managed to send us that clip. Tell us a little bit. You being a former Goodwood coach and all that. Your thoughts?
No, I think most of the clubs are busy now. It's like we said earlier. Is that it's a different season now in rugby. 10 years ago, clubs started in January. That was their thing. They started pre-season, but now I think. As seasons progress, as clubs progress, clubs now starting to train earlier, get their players ready earlier. So I think Goodwood is now obviously on had a good season. So I think they're just trying to build on that as well for next season.
Yeah, look, I think it's more than just these Oaks training, because the club needs to be busy. The club needs to be busy so that you can attract the players to come train, so that you can have your program running. So when you're doing your planning as a coach and with your administrators or your executive, that's a year-round plan. Also, what content can I create from this? To keep my social pages going, to keep my people aware that we're still active, to attract people to my organization.
Yep, 100%. Right, folks, we're going to take a break, and I think what Alistair was just saying there is the importance of social recognition. It is one of the biggest draw cards that you can have in your organization. And if you haven't realized this yet, social recognition is much more important than money or any other draw card that you might have. Social recognition is what every human being craves. So if you can do that at your club, you already are on the winning wicket. We'll take an ad break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking about some of the off-season training, and we're still going to talk about the awards. Back in a sec.